And what's going on, guys? Kale here, coming at you with another video. This video is going to be kind of a older style video that I kind of used to do in the past, and kind of just an account update as to where my accounts are, and all that fun stuff. So for those of you new to the channel, I am an endgame player with 4 accounts, 3 of which are in the endgame, and the 4th one is slowly making its way into the endgame. So we are currently actually on the baby account over here, which is Caraxes. Caraxes is my newest account. I started it back in, I believe, late November, maybe early December. And the reason I'm talking about Caraxes first is just because I think there's maybe some returning players to MSF, as well as maybe people that are just kind of getting into the game, or just kind of getting into the end game. And what I would like to kind of talk about, as you can see here, my account is just about 3.7 mil. With Caraxes, I kind of was lucky, and I started at a very good time, where it was kind of a shift in the raid meta, and I was around for basically all of the new raid meta characters. So, I do already have Rebirth, I have Bionic Avengers, Death Seed, I almost have a Mystic team if the Morgan Le Fay Scourge would ever come back, and I also have invaders. One thing I've kind of been surprised by is that I have done one 3.5 running on Caraxes, and both of my invaders as well as my rebirth team have actually been able to hang in Doom 3.5, which is pretty impressive. Currently, we're actually doing some lower raids just to kind of help people get some first-time rewards. But these raid teams are amazing, and what I would highly recommend is I kind of like to subdivide things. Basically, I will heart things that I am actively farming, and then I will do the verse tab to basically do things that I'm actively working on. And I don't want to talk about farming too much, because I think it is a little bit kind of more, I guess, roster specific. And with the current styles of events, my farming has actually gotten a little bit different. And I just want to talk about that real quick. Farming wise, I know I just said I wasn't going to talk about farming, and I'm doing it anyway, but anyway, this is what happens when you don't have anything kind of scripted or an outline. But so kind of what I'm doing, we have had kind of either weekly or bi-weekly some type of orb opening event, and they kind of seem to be rotating. So like one week it's training orbs, the next week it is gold orbs. So what I've been doing is I've been going into villains in the hard campaign, and I've basically been farming the nodes that have the training orbs. So you'll find those in Villains 6 and also in 7, but Caraxes isn't there yet. So you'll find them in 7, 6, and 4 for the training orbs, and in the heroes. Again, you'll find it in 7, and then 5 and 4. And Caraxes isn't quite there yet for the hard mode on 7 for either of those situations. But so I've been doing that with my daily campaign energy, and then whatever left over, I've been kind of farming basically Kree minions for Nick Fury. Anyway, back to my verse tab. So you'll see here, I basically have all of my raid characters and a couple like random additions. Red Hulk is over here because I do need to eventually start working on him. But I basically have my raid teams, and what I've been working on is I've been working on them in order of their longevity. And typically kind of what we seem to be seeing is raid characters seem to be lasting at the most maybe about 9 months, maybe a year tops. And so what I'm doing is essentially the newer raid teams that are built for the incursion raids, I'm building first. So, I basically have started taking my invaders up to level 80, which I'm not quite there yet, but I'll be taking them to level 80, G15, and then I am planning to do the Rebirth team, followed by Death Seed, followed by the Mystic team, and last, the Bionic Avengers. So that's kind of what I'm working on to kind of keep myself, kind of prepped for the upcoming incursion raids. And what I would encourage for, in particular, maybe a returning player, or a player that is starting the game after these characters have been released, a lot of the current events are having shards either for Rebirth or Invader characters. So you'll see in this Light the Crucible, we have Rebirth character shards, And in this Mother's Day event over here, you also have Rebirth character shards, and they kind of seem to be, a patch behind each other. So I would think maybe going forward, we might start seeing more Invader character shards in future events. So it's something to be on the lookout. Other ways you can kind of farm these characters. It's not really farmable, but it's kind of your only option unless you want to break out your wallet. Premium orbs are going to have some of these character shards. So if we look in here, we'll look at the common shards. So we've got Agent Venom. I believe all of Rebirth is now orb farmable, from what I'm thinking. So we've got Captain Carter over here. Captain America, most people already have. Winter Soldier, most people already have. Who am I missing on Rebirth? U.S. Agent. So he should be towards the bottom. And there's U.S. Agent. So all of Rebirth is in here. Invader-wise, we have Union Jack. Cap 2 is currently in these orbs, and then we just got a blog notification that Bucky Barnes will be in these orbs as well. So that'll make basically the only one not farmable in these orbs is going to be Iron Fist World War II. If you were to get super lucky, you might also find these in the Mega Orbs, is one way. And then for returning players that might have more characters maxed out, you also do have the ability to get them in the Ultimus Orbs. So as a returning player or a player working towards the end game, I would definitely start looking at, kind of farming these characters in that way, or building them up if you have them unlocked. I do want to kind of transition on over to my main account, which is going to be Vagar. So here we are on Vagar. And this is my oldest account. I do occasionally spend on Vagar, and it did look like OBS over here just kind of raged quit and got rid of Vagar. So let's hop on over to Vermithor and hope the same thing doesn't happen. So Vermithor over here is my second oldest account, 27 mil. Vagar is 30, just about 32 mil, but the same kind of principles apply. So you'll again see the Hearted section are characters that I'm farming, and in the Verse section, which is a little bit less packed than Vagar's, but we've got a couple things going on. So I'm currently, in the process of taking my Horseman teams to G17, basically working towards that Big Daddy Apocalypse, working on getting Apocalypse to level 95 as well as G17. However, please do keep in mind Apocalypse is a very expensive character. With the exception of his middle one, all of these actually require G17. So he's actually a 5 G17 character. So to kind of put that into perspective, you're going to need 100 mini uniques to take Apocalypse to G17, where most characters are only either 60 or 80. So he is quite expensive, but I think if you get that Big Daddy Apocalypse, it's definitely worth it, or Big Boy Apocalypse. Anyway, other thing I'm working on, and I believe Vermithor is actually almost done with it, but one of my alliance mates actually came up with a really phenomenal counter for the Tangled Eternals, and that guild member is a Santiago to give him proper credit. But basically, it's kind of a Masters of Evil and Apocalypse hybrid. So what I did was I took all of my Masters of Evil to at least G16, with the exception of Absorbing Man, because I've subbed him out. And where Absorbing Man would be, I have Apocalypse. And this team has been doing really well for me in beating the Tangled Eternals. So other things kind of in my verse battle, I am also kind of working on taking up my raid teams, which actually, once we kind of get Apocalypse to 95 and Quicksilver up, we'll start actually going back to focusing on our raid teams and taking our raid teams to level 95. And kind of the same thing with Caraxes. I am doing it in order of their longevity. So, Invaders, Rebirth, Deathseed, Mystic, and then Tech. kind of like I said, tech is really not looking so hot. It's struggling currently in 3.5, so I don't see them lasting through the incursion raids. I'm going to assume they'll probably be getting another team. Things I'm buying in the stores. The mini uniques for G17, I am definitely buying, kind of keeping them, especially in the gold store, kind of keep them around 100, especially the mutant pieces. Blitz store, kind of keeping those up. Raid store, there's really nothing for me to buy. We did just get the announcement that Icarus is going to be coming to the raid orb, so we'll definitely be opening up some raid orbs if you don't have Icarus to level 7, star 7, 7 star. Goodness, my English is bad today. Anyway, arena store, not much going on here. There's really nothing to farm. War store, again, nothing to farm character wise, but I am purchasing my teal pieces. And also for my hero uniques, I'm kind of starting to prep myself for G18. And any hero unique that is under 30, I am making sure I'm buying. I'm not too sure who I'm going to be taking into Dark Dimension 6, but it's always good to just kind of stockpile. Cosmic Crucible, I'm having to be a little bit more choosy as to what I'm spending my silver credits on. So basically, I'm looking at the ones I'm kind of like actively farming, which currently is Mutant. So in here, I'm really only getting the Hero Mini Unique. In the Elite Store, not much going on. Most of the characters that I would like to have at 5 stars, they already are, or I don't quite have them at 5 stars yet. So my silver credits are starting to build up. And kind of actually the same thing with the 6 red stars. There's really not many characters that I have at 6. Like I would take Cap 2 to 6 stars, but he's still a ways off. So I'm just kind of currently saving those. One thing I have kind of changed, though, is in the ISO 8 store, I'm actually buying the blue ions, and I do have quite an excess of the blue ions, so I'm basically buying these till they're at 81, and the only reason I'm doing that is just to honestly save myself some time in clicking. I do still have a crazy amount of blue orbs. I mean, I've got, almost 1.4k or almost 1.5k down here. But basically, to take a character to blue 5, you need to have 81 of a given type. So it's really just to kind of save me clicking. But yeah, that's kind of what I am working on these days. Hopefully, y'all have found these account updates kind of helpful. It's certainly something I can get back into doing if there is an interest. So I want to first and foremost take this opportunity to thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did find the video helpful. Hope everyone is having a good week, and I will see you next time.